Today, on the Everett Ellison Show, Donald Trump said he's taking over Washington, D.C. Now he's going to take over Chicago. And all the Democrats are mad. But we're going to talk about that today on the Everett Ellison Show. Started. Donald Trump has just made Washington, D.C. the safest big city in America. They haven't had a murder in 10 days. Now, look, that's a good thing and it's a bad thing. It's a good thing that they hadn't had a murder in 10 days, but it's a bad thing also that they hadn't had a murder in 10 days. They used to have a murder almost every day in D.C., man. Then you have them in bunches, just a bunch of jokers getting shot. So Donald Trump has done this in D.C., and of course the Democrats are mad about it. What the hell are you doing? Making the streets safe in D.C. You know, black folks ain't supposed to live like that. No, man, black folks supposed to be scared. They're supposed to be running around, jumping around, frightened. So Trump says, and look, here's the cool thing about D.C. Now, understand this. D.C. went like 95% Democrat. And Trump is still in D.C. making these people safe. You know why? Because he's president of the United States of America. Even if you voted against him. You say you're not supposed to live like a dog. And then this proves something to you. He did it with such ease, that you have to know that this is what these Democrats want in these big cities. It can be stopped anytime. So Trump says, okay, we've done such a good job here in Washington, D.C. Let's take our show on the road, man. Let's go into another very, very violent city. Let's go into Chicago. Oh, boy, Pritzker. Fat boy, that's what I call him. His daddy owns a Hilton fortune. And they're a bunch of liberals, man. And so his family owns a Hilton fortune, so that sucker ain't never worked a day in his life. He used his family money to become governor of the state of Illinois. And Pritzker got a brother, he's transgender. I think that's Pritzker, though. I'm showing you a picture of him right now. They look just alike, don't they? Both of them look just, that's Pritzker in that dress with that wig on, trying to act like that's his brother. I want to see them together with side by side, but either way it goes, man, I'm going to tell you the truth. My brother wouldn't do that around me. I got 3 surviving brothers. If he did that crap anywhere else, when he come around me, he going to straighten up and fly right. He walks up to me with a dress on and said, man, what's wrong with you? What you clowning? Are you playing today? No, man, this is, I just want to wear the dress. Well, no. Actually, one more time, are you serious? Yeah, man, I'm serious. When you wake up, you'll have on some pants and some you'll have on some slacks and a shirt and some men's shoes. And you will never do that again. But that shows you how permissive these suckers are. So Pritzker, if that's Pritzker, and I believe, if that's Pritzker's brother, and I don't believe that, I think that's Pritzker himself. But if that's Pritzker's brother, that shows you the type of joker he is. He's no good, and this is why he allows all that crime in D.C. He's permissive, and he's weak. And then you got the mayor of Chicago. His name is Brandon Johnson. He the gremlin. Have you seen him? Sometimes you're supposed to have, you got eyes for a reason, okay? You're supposed to have a spirit of discernment. You're supposed to be able to look at people and say, man, something wrong with him. If a guy walks to you and he got a swastika tattooed in the middle of his head, that's supposed to tell you a little something about that person, you know what I'm saying? If you see people with tats all on their faces and piercings everywhere, you gotta look at them and say, well, you're supposed to be able to look at Brandon Johnson and understand something wrong with him. He just looked like, how people that's got a demonic expression on their face? Like how you can look at a snake that got those reptilian eyes and you say, ooh, need to get away from that. That looks kind of mean. Brandon Johnson looked like he's kind of rabid and there's something wrong with him. Well, he's led Chicago that was already in a cesspool to, I guess if you can have a worse thing than a cesspool, he did that. It's hell and a cesspool now. So Brandon wanted to get all the illegals to come up to Chicago because this is how they keep their power. And, and it's the opposite of what conservatives do. So what Texas wants to do, Texas wants to bring all conservatives to Texas. Well, conservatives work hard, conservatives have money, conservatives build businesses. So Texas is booming. Tennessee is the same way. South Carolina is the same way. They say, hey, man, come. Florida's the same way. Conservatives, come to our state. Good place to build business. Good place to save money on taxes. Good place to raise your family. Well, Illinois, New York, and Chicago want all of the liberals and the ne'er-do-wells and the illegals and the dope fiends who vote Democrat to come to their cities. And so they do the opposite. They say, come here and we'll give you free stuff. We don't want you to work. Come to Chicago, sit on the porch and drink 40s and gangbang all day long. Have as much promiscuous sex as you want. We got the HIV prep for you, son, and if that don't work, we got the HIV drugs for you if you get caught up. Don't have to graduate high school because schools ain't no damn good. No way, so come here. And so conservatives are going to vote to keep conservatives in power, and liberal Democrats are going to vote to keep liberal Democrats in power. And so every government of these areas try to bring people in that match their ideology. And Chicago sure got one to match theirs. I mean, hey, man, if you want to have a good business in Chicago, get into the funeral home business. That's an idea. Get into the funeral home business in Chicago. Or you can put some money on the street selling dope. That's a good business in Chicago. That's about the only, liquor stores, dope. You don't want to open up like a school. Probably one of them storefront churches. Cash. Well, ain't nobody got no job, so you can be cashing no checks in Chicago. Okay, so yeah, funeral homes and dope are the best businesses to get involved in Chicago because they fired all the teachers. Because Brandon Johnson took all the money for the schools and gave to the illegals. And being illegal, yeah, there you go. Selling dope, being illegal, and funeral home. Chicago. So Trump comes in and says, hey, since we've been successful keeping people safe in in Washington, D.C., let's take it to Chicago. And these suckers are going crazy. So Fat Boy Pritzker got up there, made a little speech, trying to threaten Trump. If you hurt any of my people, I'm going to do everything within the law to make sure that you pay. And Trump said, Trump scared the president need to spend more time in the gym.
The state of Illinois is ready to stand against this military deployment with every peaceful tool we have. We will see the Trump administration in court. We will use every lever at our disposal to protect the people of Illinois and their rights. Finally, to the Trump administration officials who are complicit in this scheme, to the public servants who have forsaken their oath to the Constitution to serve the petty whims of an arrogant little man, to any federal official who would come to Chicago and try to incite my people into violence as a pretext for something darker and more dangerous, we are watching and we are taking names.
You gotta love Trump. Trump's a wild dude. If I don't know, I really don't know how much of authority Trump has to send the National Guard into a city without the governor's permission. I really don't. I hope he does, though, just to aggravate him, if nothing else. So, then Trump started messing with Baltimore. They got a governor there by the name of Wes Moore. Wes is an interesting guy. Wes knows better. That's my problem with Wes Moore. Wes knows better. You know, Wes has a great story. He was a little thug, getting ready to go wrong. His mama dropped him off at a private school, got him hooked up to go to a military academy. They straightened his ass up. Wes went to Oxford. Real smart guy. That's why I know Wes knows better. So Wes started making this money. Wes is basically a drug dealer, okay? Wes started, he invested in this thing called Green Thumb Industries. What is Green Thumb Industries, you ask? Well, you can Google Green Thumb Industries if you like, or look on Wes Moore's Wikipedia page, and you'll see that Wes invested in Green Thumb Industries, which is what? They sell dope. They sell marijuana. They got dispensaries all over the country. So when Wes got caught, I think he still got stock in it, but it's in like some type of blind trust or some crap like that. But yeah, Wes make money off of the dope game. You don't mind hurting his people, man. It's all about greed to him. That's why he's a Democrat. If Wes had any dadgum honor, he would have been a conservative. He said, look, man, I am not going to allow my people to keep going down this road of destruction. No, he wanted to be governor. So he decided to jump on the bandwagon of the Democratic Party. So you got Baltimore and you got Chicago. If you listen to CNN, they said Baltimore and Chicago is like living in the Blue Ridge Mountains. That's why I'm up here. There's hardly any crime up here. So in Chicago, as of August 25th, 2025, there have been 262 homicides in Chicago. They say Chicago is safe now. We don't need no National Guard up here. It's a safe city. 262 homicides, y'all. And this is just August. They have had 2,140 gun violence victims over the past 12 months. I said 2,140. Y'all, 2,140. If my math is correct, that's about 70 jokers a day getting shot. Come on, that can't be right, Vince. That can't be right. It's about 7 jokers a day getting shot. 7 a day. About 7 a day getting shot. I said 7 people a day getting shot in the city. And they don't want the National Guard. They're holding a press conference to keep the National Guard out. 262 murders this year. And 2,140 gun violence victims. Lord have mercy. Says 205 homicides and 170 fatal shootings. So you put that together, that's 375 homicides. And they don't want any help. This is the Democratic Party. Pritzker's a Democrat. Brandon Johnson is a Democrat. Wes Moore is a Democrat. In Baltimore, Maryland, and Baltimore is losing so many people. Everybody just leaving Baltimore. It's been shrunk in half in the past 20, 30 years. So it says in Baltimore, in 2025, the Baltimore Police Department continues to see double-digit reductions in crime, even though they had 68 homicides in 2025 versus 88 in 2024 at this time. So they have a decrease, but they still had 68 homicides. Trump says, let me come in and make it 0. Let's get to a point where if you hear one person is getting killed, it's one too many. We've gotten to a point where we're oblivious to it now. It needs to get to a point like it is up here where we live, if somebody gets killed, you say, oh my goodness, what has happened? Because it's rare. You have young children growing up where they can just name names of friends that they've seen die. Wow. So you got Wes Moore, a Democrat in a Democrat city. And Wes gets on the news, and they always give him these easy interviews. But, you know, Wes is still a guy, just like Brandon Johnson and just like Pritzker, that support men marrying men. They support castrating little boys, call them little girls. Double mastectomies, little girls, call them little boys. They still support men in women's bathrooms, demented men in women's bathrooms, demented men in women's sports, demented men in women's locker rooms walking around jingling and jangling while these little girls trying to change their clothes. They still support, he still got Maryland as a sanctuary state. I remember when I was living in Silver Spring, Maryland. Let me tell you how they do it. Silver Spring was already a Democrat-controlled area. But they wanted to make it so Democrat that you wanted to make sure that can't nobody but Democrats get elected, right? So in D.C., Adrian Fenty was the mayor at that time, a few years ago, maybe 12, 15 years ago, something like that. And Fenty decided that he was going to tear down some housing projects and start building condos. Because you got a lot of diplomats and high-end people come to D.C. and they don't want to live in, around squalor. But Fenty lied and said he was going to make sure that they build low-income housing so that the people that got ran out of the housing projects should have somewhere to live, right? Well, that didn't happen. So guess what Silver Spring said? Everybody come to Silver Spring. So PG County in Maryland and Silver Spring invited all of these low-income people to come live there in order to make sure that they had as many Democrats in the area as they could get. They didn't care about the crime. They didn't care about the standard of living going down. They didn't care about any of that. And y'all, my housing, the cost of the house I owned in D.C., in Silver Spring, was cut almost in half. My property value in about 5 years. I sold it and got the hell out of there. Started sending jokers and laying on the street. A Democratic Party, heaven is an American hell. It's this weird thing. And I saw this statistic where upper class black people go to jail in higher numbers than poor whites. Isn't that amazing? Upper class black people, upper middle class black people, go to jail at higher numbers than lower class and poor whites do. Why? Because even if you got money in the black community, you're usually a Democrat and you're being led by liberal policies. PG County is the richest black county in the world, and them suckers got a murder rate higher than Baltimore. Schools ain't no damn good, and the people there, the average income is over $100,000 a year per household, because they all got those government jobs working in D.C. Explain that to me. Poverty is not the problem. It's a community without God and don't want it. So the president of the United States of America says, hey, man, your house is on fire. Yes, it is. Look like it's burning up to me. Yep. Well, I'm going to go get a fire truck and put it out. No! What does that tell you? You're an arsonist and you want your house to burn down. So they slick now. They found out that defunding the police was not a good mantra. As James Carville said, defund the police were three of the stupidest words ever uttered in the English language. So the Democrats couldn't say it anymore, but they still wanted to do it. So guess what they did? Let me tell you how they defunded police. In these big cities, they just stopped hiring police officers. So if a police officer quit, they wouldn't hire anymore. So in Washington, D.C., they have a deficit of between 500 and 800 police officers. In Baltimore, it's the same. So instead of defunding the Justice Department, they just stopped hiring DAs. So now there's nobody to prosecute. This is George Soros and his crew. These bunch of demonic, evil people that want to see the destruction of mankind. They're just evil just because. And you got to understand evil, y'all. Evil doesn't have a rhyme or a reason to it. I mean, does a rattlesnake have a reason? Does a lion have a reason? To them, murder, killing something and eating it isn't murder. Killing something and eating it is survival. To an evil person, you know, we always look at things like this. If it brings me pleasure, it can't be bad. But most of the time, you know, you try to say the things that bring me pleasure are good things. Helping an old lady across the street, helping my neighbor pay his light bill, being kind to people, eating a good meal, exercising, going to church. But then every now and again, you're going to find a person. Bad things make them feel good. And they can only feel good if they're doing bad things. Our Bible says they cannot sleep unless they do evil. And the cool thing, and well, not cool, but one of the amazing things about these people is they know to hide it. Because they know us. They know what's expected from them, so they hide it. And the Democrats are very good at that. So they don't want to say, they said defund the police, and it turned on them. See, Donald Trump came from the defund the police thing, so he said, we can't say it any longer. So they don't say it any longer, they just do it. They try to act like nobody wants the job, but you're finding out they're not hiring anybody. So these cities now, and then you know what they do? Like they're doing in D.C., they find out that the police department, they're cooking the books. If you watch The Wire, HBO series, they talked about how the police department up in Baltimore was cooking the books. Barack Obama did that when he was a president. They tried to talk about Obama deported more immigrants than any president had ever deported. But this is what Barack did. He cooked the book. Let me tell you what he did. Deportation used to be, you grab the person, they're in the country, you grab them, you take them to a judge, you send them back home. That's a deportation. Barack Obama started counting deportations as jokers you caught before they got into the country, and you turned them around and sent them back. And he started counting those as deportations. They used to be counted as turnarounds. They weren't deportations. So Barack just cooked the book. He changed the definition, and it looked like he was doing more than he was doing. No, he wasn't. He was letting illegals in also. And even when Joe Biden and his crew was doing that, they were still letting 10 million in. So this is how they played the game. Shoot, the Baltimore the police and the Washington police, Joker, they found him dead with a gunshot wound to the head. They say he had a heart attack. They don't say he got shot. Find a guy with a stab wound, dead. They say he fell down a flight of stairs. Accident. Don't put it down as a homicide, man. Drug overdose. Choked on a chicken bone. Man, don't crack overdose. Got no drug problem here in the inner city. Them aspirins, boy. People, that's how they play the game. And this is the reason why you don't want to have these people in charge of your government whatsoever. They are horrible people. Everybody that lives down there wants to leave. Everybody that lives down there want to get out. If you don't believe that, ask some of these white liberal Democrats to move their white asses down there, and you see what they do. Oh, no. You won't see them down there, nor their children. But they always want you. Oh, it's okay down here. The crime is going down. I tell you what, when you go down there, I tell you what, the crime going down once you go in Baltimore tonight. Walk down on Martin Luther King Boulevard. I dare you. Come on, I dare you. I remember this time I was living in Silver Spring, Maryland. I was at Barnes & Noble. And read some books. And I got to start this little conversation. This nice little white gentleman. Nice young man. We talked for 10, 15 minutes. He told me that he had to go. was like 6 o'clock that night. And he said he worked for a charity and that they were going into D.C. to do some work. And I looked at the clock. I said, hey, man, you going down to D.C. now? It's getting dark. He said, oh, man, I'll be all right. I said, what part of D.C. you going into? He said, I'm going down to the Trinidad area. I said, man, no, you don't want to go down to the Trinidad area this time of night. No, not being a white guy. I'm telling you now. Somebody's setting you up. Oh, I'm going to be fine. I said, look, I'm telling you, you better take your ass back to the hotel and wait till tomorrow to go down there. Oh, I'll be fine. I said, all right. I got up the next day. I turned on the news. And they talked about some dude just got the hell beat out of him down in the Trinidad area. I sit there and watch the news. And I'd be damned if it wasn't him. And I said, that's the dude I saw at the bookstore last night. I told him not to go down there. So he's sitting laying in the hotel room. I mean, he's laying down in the hospital room, just all beat up, just jacked up. And the guy had the mic up in his mouth. He said, tell me what happened, sir. He said, well, I was putting some stuff in my car, and a black gentleman came by walking, and he was drinking beer, and he took his beer can after he finished it, threw it on the ground. And I told him he should put that up and put it in the garbage can. And I shook my head. I said, I know that brother. Asked him, who you talking to? And he said, who you talking to? I said, that was his out, and he didn't take it. And I said, I'm talking to you. And then this thing I know, he just started beating me. I said, yeah, that's what happens. And he just wouldn't stop. He just wouldn't stop. He just kept beating me, kept beating me, kept beating me. And so I woke up, I was in the hospital. I said, well, that's what you get. I told you I hanging out with these cats down there in D.C. Look, man, I worked in the penitentiary. I know these jokers. Look, I know them. I didn't say I think them. I know them. How do you think I survived 5 years working in maximum security prison if I didn't get to know them? And these white liberals don't know these cats. Some of them are savable. Most of them are not. They're going to end up dead or in the penitentiary. And I'm with Donald Trump. Get a paddy wagon, drive through the streets. When you can look at them and tell which one need to be in jail. You ain't got to ask them. Just come in. Can I get in the back of the paddy wagon? Don't even read him his rights. Take him, lock him up. And then look around and say, anybody else? Yeah, they need martial law. Suspend habeas corpus. Lock you up without even reading your rights. Just grab him and throw him in jail. That's how you stop all of this mess. You need to do that for a whole year and let them know we're not playing any longer. And then if the government show up, find a way to lock him up. Do what Abraham Lincoln did in the Civil War. This guy by the name of Van Landingham, he was a Copperhead Democrat up north. Copperhead was a Democrat, a Northern Democrat that was still in the Congress, but supported the Confederates. And Van Landingham would get up in the Congress talking all kind of crap all the time about Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln got tired of Van Landingham. He grabbed Van Landingham, put him in handcuffs, told the Union soldiers to take him down, cross the Mason-Dixon line, and drop his ass off down south. Told him to come back up to the north again, he's going to put him in jail. That's a true story. Look it up. Lincoln didn't play. We might need a little bit of that right now with these people like Pritzker, Brandon Johnson, Wes Moore, the drug dealer. So let's pay attention, y'all. Let's pay attention to Fat Boy Pritzker, Gremlin Baron Johnson, and dope dealer Wes Moore. Keep them in your front view, not your rear view. Keep them in your front view. These are ones you got to watch. And I'm going to keep bringing information to you about these jokers because I'm here to wake you up. I hope I did you some good here today. So join me again for another edition of the Vince Everett Ellison Show. All right, friends, Vince Everett Ellison is here. I want you to go to my website, and on my website, you're gonna see a lot of great stuff, man. You're gonna see that we got t-shirts, we got caps, you got my books, my documentaries, you got all kinds of stuff on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Go there. We're dropping new t-shirts, we're dropping new merchandise. My new book, The End of Tolerance, is there. The End of Tolerance. Make sure you get it, make it #1. If you got my first 3, get The End of Tolerance. It's just as good, and it's telling us we have to end our tolerance with these leftists, these Democrats. We can no longer allow them to sexually groom our children. We can no longer allow them to castrate little boys and call them little girls, run God out of the public square, take away our guns, take away our sovereignty. No longer allow it. So go on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. That is VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Hit merchandise. You'll see the t-shirts. You'll see the caps. You'll see the books. You'll see the documentaries. You'll see it all. And let's keep this ball rolling. God bless you.